A new report by IC Cars reveals electric vehicle prices declined over 30% in 2023. An online auction site, Bring a Trailer, saw classic car prices also soften last year, falling 10% or more for many models, but the volume sold increased over 2% last year. So is now the time to look into some alternative investments into a collectible car while prices are low? Joining us now, we've got Randy Nonnenberg, who is the Bring a Trailer founder and CEO, here alongside Yahoo Finance reporter Pras Subramanian. Great to have you in studio here with us as well. One of the things we got to know, where are the models that people are gravitating into right now?
Well, what sells really well on Bring a Trailer is anything that's special, anything that's different, right? A lot of cars in the new car space are kind of converging on sameness or all chasing the Model 3 or whatever they're doing. So special and interesting cars, sports cars, interesting trucks, EVs even on Bring a Trailer are super popular, whether they're vintage or even produced just a couple years ago.
So Randy, what's your take on the kind of the big picture market right now? Are prices sort of moderating for the long term, or do you think that there's just a little lull here while rates are high and things like that?
There was a big bubble in 2022. People were, spending money like crazy on cars, on other things, and 2023 corrected that. And we see the values of the cars to be pretty consistent to where they were in 2023. So that's going to sort of stabilize as people figure out, what they're doing. But the economy has its sort of mixed strengths and weaknesses. But the big change from 22 to 23, we see that we're past that.
And Randy, if we could just put the full screen that we just had back on the screen, because I want you to speak to some of the top or most expensive cars that you guys have sold last year. When it comes to nearly 2.9 million for the number one seller, then about 2.5 million, followed by 1.8 million. When it comes to how much people are spending on select cars, how does that compare today to some of the trends that you saw pre-pandemic, specifically on those top sellers?
Yeah, well, these are obviously way at the top. Most people aren't out there spending $3 million on a car, but thankfully some people are, right? The average price on Bring a Trailer is between $50,000 and $60,000. Yeah. But these we have seen speculators. We've seen this was more sort of the bubble of 2022. People were throwing money at these, thinking that they're going to make a return on them in as soon as 12 months. And that sort of exuberance was a little bit, over optimistic. But now they're settled in. Those are 2023 results. The most expensive one was in the final week of 2023, just a few weeks ago. So there's still high velocity of trade on Bring a Trailer and people spending money on these cars, but also on the more sort of bread and butter listings that we sell.
So Randy, some people that I know that use the site and actually buy cars say there's some pain points with regards to payment and how do you handle someone who has the car and the title and the money? How does that all work out? What are some of the things you guys are doing to kind of make that process easier for buyers and sellers?
Good question. So we've brought a lot of people to a higher comfort level with buying and selling online. And that's been great over the past year. That has fueled our growth. But that final mile of actually making the transaction after Bring a Trailer introduces buyer and seller and sets the price. Right now, it has been more of a self-serve. You go finish the transaction. But what's exciting is there are digital tools now that we've been developing for the last number of months that we're going to launch in the next 30 days that will help people actually transfer the paperwork, send the money, escrow service, verification, more things to elevate and make it easier to sell online, so that you don't need to go to one of these Wild West online marketplaces and hope you end up okay. Like, you can rely on Bring a Trailer to make that a safer and better transaction.
Randy, I'm on the website right now on Bring a Trailer, and I was wondering if the Tesla Roadster has entered into that classic car echelon, into the same kind of buying headspace that some of the other investors out there have had for the other vehicles that we just tossed on screen. And it seems like some of them for resale right now or for auction are going below even the initial price. So what's it going to take for the Tesla Roadster or perhaps even the Cybertruck to enter into a classic car echelon one day?
That's a great question. A lot of people have thought that Bring a Trailer and collector cars have been old-fashioned cars, and it really isn't the case. There's a lot of cars that are produced in the last number of years that are really popular. Teslas are a perfect example. People ask all the time, is a Model S ever going to be collectible? Is a Roadster ever going to be collectible? And we have a very popular set of listings in the EV category, and the most outstanding there is the Tesla Roadster, the first Tesla, because obviously Tesla's on everyone's lips when they talk about cars, and having the early ones, the early serial number, a special color of the early Tesla. There's an orange it was sold in that nobody has. And if that comes up for auction on Bring a Trailer, it will go for way over its original MSRP. It's a collector's item at this point.
So Randy, it sounds like there certainly is at least some demand there for some Tesla vehicles. When we take a step back and you take a look at some of the demand more broadly speaking for the other brands, where are you seeing the most interest?
It aligns with vehicles that are popular in the new space. Sometimes people who like the new ones also like the older ones. So Porsches are very popular. They have a bunch of great momentum. A lot of interesting Ford models. When the Bronco came out and had high demand, when there's high demand for a new model and there's a waiting list, a lot of those will appear on auction marketplaces because people either want to sell them for a return or there's just a lot of rarity and buzz. Rarity is what goes great in auctions. So it could be a Ford, could be a Porsche, special vintage Mercedes models, things in the collector space are super popular. So it's really a broad swath.
All right, as of right now, I've got to settle for some of my collectible car Lego sets until I can fully invest in one of these. Thank you so much for joining us here on set. We appreciate it, Randy.
My pleasure. Thanks
Randy
for having me.
Nonnenberg, who is the Bring a Trailer founder and CEO. And our thanks to Pras Subramanian as well here on set.